With President Trump occupying the Oval Office, things are getting a little hot in the kitchen for the Palestinian Arabs. Following a review of the funding for projects in the West Bank and Gaza, the State Department announced a couple of weeks ago that it was cutting approximately $200 million of aid from the PA and will redirect the money instead to other agencies who will hopefully spend it better in helping the long-suffering Palestinian Arabs. Now we have a second announcement that the United States is cutting its funding of about $300 million a year to UNRWA, the United States agency whose sole purpose has been to administer funds provided to, quote, Palestinian refugees. There were something like 700,000 Arab refugees that eventuated at the time the modern state of Israel was created. But UNRWA defines these people, plus all of their descendants in perpetuity, to be refugees, with the number currently sitting at about 5 million people and increasing. UN Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley made some points that we are all very aware of, but which the rest of the world really needed to hear, and what a breath of fresh air she is. She pointed out that countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Kuwait hardly give anything to the Palestinians, and if these Arab brothers are not interested, why should the US pick up the whole tab? Good point, especially when the Palestinians are so ungrateful for the years of funding that the United States has been providing. But some people still haven't learned the lesson. The German government has pledged to significantly increase its funding for the UN agency that supports these Palestinian refugees, and Jeremy Corbyn wants the UK to make up the shortfall. Nevertheless, the winds are blowing away from the Palestinians, and it's not before time. But it's not all peaches and cream just yet. Even some Israelis are still dreaming of a utopia where the Palestinians are eternally grateful for the help that they have been given and are just aching to make peace with Israel. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak was in town last week and pushing this line. He was the one who offered Yasser Arafat the absolute maximum that any Israeli ever possibly could, only to have Arafat walk away from the deal. Yet that wasn't enough. That wasn't even enough to convince Barak that the Arab and Muslim world have not got the slightest intention of making peace, for the main reason that once a land has been under Islamic control, it must forever remain that way. To them, this makes the state of Israel a cancer in the region that needs to be cut out. But Barak is still living in fairyland. He said last week that what is stopping the moderate Arab countries from improving relations in Israel is the fact that Israel hasn't yet given the Palestinians their own state. What rubbish. Thank goodness we have got Donald Trump and his team in the White House to put some sanity back into this conversation. The Arabs are going ballistic because after all the years of mollycoddling by a whole raft of US presidents, and Obama was the worst of them all, this US administration is finally saying what any reasonable person would say. That is, we're happy to help, but we won't give you buckets of money and have you abuse us for it and then spend it on violence and terror. PA terrorist-in-chief Mahmoud Abbas spat the dummy, strangely thinking that somehow this would make things better. But all it proves is just how out of touch he is with the gaping space between the Arab and Western cultures. The Palestinian Authority envoy to Washington warned the US last week against counselling aid to UNRWA, claiming that doing so would threaten the prospects of peace and promote terror. No, it won't. It will hopefully wake up the Palestinians into realising that their little game is up, and wake up the rest of the world to this blackmail that has been going on for the last 70 years. Why would the Palestinians want to work to build a functioning society and a state of their own when they can bludge off everyone else? They have been crafty enough to realise that by constantly whinging about the evil Israelis, the world has continued to throw money at them and they've never had to do anything. At long last, there is now a president with the strength to call out this racket. President Trump took Jerusalem off the table, and now he is taking this ridiculous notion that 5 million Arabs living all over the place are also refugees, also off the table. I'm not exactly sure what is left on the table, but whatever it is, at least it's pertinent to establish a long-lasting peace in the region. A peace that enables Israel to grow and prosper and make a meaningful contribution to humanity. I'm not particularly interested in what the Arabs want to do with their piece of peace. If they want to burn tyres and chop people's heads off, well, that's up to them. But just let Israel and the rest of the civilized world move forward. This is Alan Friedman from Nothing Left for the Australian Jewish Association.